Good afternoon and welcome. Glad you could make it today, so let's get started. So, we're continuing our series on more Mac tips on Go for Lunch for August 20th, 2024. I'm Roger Harmon, your host. This presentation is brought to you by GoFor Technology, where we make your technology work for you. It is National Radio Day. Some of us may remember gathering around a radio that maybe looked something like this in the living room before the boob tube came along and listening to news and entertainment. Interesting thing that's happening now is they're talking about taking AM radios out of new cars. I think that's a bad idea because the range on AM radios is much greater than FM radio, especially at night. So we need our AM radio. So let's hope that that trend, which has already happened in some new electric cars, does not continue, but reverses. So we're continuing to be inspired by Allison Sheridan and her presentation at MacStock last month. And hi, Stanley. So you can learn more about Allison at her website, which is podfeet.com. And she did the Mac Tiny Tips workshop, which a lot of this is coming from. And she was talking to us about neuroplasticity, which part of that is to try new things for 30 days. Don't give up too easily. And she inspired us with this quote. So the main thing is to keep learning. You want to keep trying to push your brain and try to learn to do new things. So thank you, Allison, for that inspiration. So today we're going to look at a couple more tricks and tips like adding things to your sidebar. So a sidebar, when you're in the Finder, is on the left-hand side of your screen, and all you have to do is drag and drop something in there. So let's look and see how that works. And we're going to get out of full screen here by bumping up and hitting the little green button on the upper left-hand corner. So now we're out of full screen, and we're going to get a Finder window here. So let's go to our iCloud Drive. And I want to go to a folder that I use frequently, which is called Keynote. So in one of our other tips, we learned that I can simply hit a K, and there it is. It went right to Keynote. And then I hold my mouse button down or two fingers down on my trackpad, and you can see the blue line that shows us where it's going to end up. I let go, and there's Keynote in my sidebar, so I don't have to go looking for it. Now if I want to take it out, I just select it with the mouse or two fingers on the trackpad and drag it outside of the sidebar, and now it is out. So real handy. You can also put applications in there that you use frequently, so it's a very handy way to get around. So the next tip is closing a window. Now, to review, what we've talked about before is when you click on the red button in the upper left-hand corner of a window, that may, I should say, that will definitely close the window. But if you're doing that to get out of an app, in some apps that work, some apps it does not work. So if you want to quit an app, you should do a Command Q rather than going up to File and dropping down to the bottom of that drop down to quit. So Command Q is the quickest way to get out of an application, and Command W, however, will close a window. It will work on web pages, it'll work in the Finder, and it will work in most apps. So let's go over here and let's go into a web page. So I'm going to hit Command W, and it closed that web page. So that's a nice handy way to close web pages or any page anywhere. Right sizing the columns in a list view. So what you do is you double click on the column divider. So let's see how that works. So we can go back here. So you notice here we have a large gap between the name column and the date modified column. So I'm going to hold down my control key and scroll in, bump up to the top here so you can see this a little better. So you can see it's kind of a faint little line, but when you mouse over it, you get this vertical line and opposing arrows. So now you can see I've got this space here. And now if I get into position and double click, that space is taken care of, and now it is just enough space to read all of the file names. So let's talk a minute about, while we're in this mode, about icon versus list versus column versus gallery view. So up here at the top, we have these 4 icons. So right now, the 3 horizontal lines tells us we're in list view. If we click on the 4 squares, now we're in icon view. If we click on this representation of columns here, the 3rd icon, now we're in column view. So in column view, when you click on a folder, then the contents of that folder displays in the next column. Then if you click on another folder, the next column displays what's in that folder. And if you click on a folder there, it opens up in the next column. And if you click on a folder there, it opens up in the next column. So that is how column view works. Some people like it. I don't ever hardly use it myself. And we're going to go down here and scroll over so we can see. There we go. So then the 4th one is a gallery view. So let's find some, and that usually works best for pictures. So let's find some pictures. And we're going to go up here. Of course, we're still zoomed in, so that's why I'm having to bump the top and bottom. So here we have pictures. And then down below, you have each picture. So if you want to go to the next picture, you can click on it, or you can use your right arrow to go to the next picture. So let's zoom out a little bit here. So I'm holding down my control key. Or I can just click on a picture to get to a new picture. Or I can hit my left arrow to go back. So that's gallery view. Usually only good for images. So let's talk about how you can adjust the dock. Well, you right click on the vertical line on the right side. So we're going to get back over here to our dock, and we're going to zoom in a little bit more and bump down, bump over to the right. Okay. So Hi, Bob. So here we have, so while we're talking about the dock, you see these four icons here. So there's a vertical line here, and there's another vertical line here. So the icons here are the ones that you have most recently used. So that's going to change. As you launch a new app, then that's going to replace one of these. So there will be the last 3 or 4 things that you've used. And you can do the dock adjustment on either of these lines. So we line up until we get the white opposing arrows, and we right click, and we get some of the dock controls. So we can turn on hiding. So when you turn on hiding, the dock hides until you bump down to the bottom, and then it appears. So we're going to turn off hiding. You can also turn on magnification. So I'm going to right click here on the vertical line again, turn on magnification, and now when I, looks like I didn't turn it on. There we go. So now you can see the icons get larger as you mouse over them. So we're going to turn that off. Then we can also, of course, we can do it here too. We can position the dock on the left. So now the dock is on the left. There it is. We're going to bounce over here. Oh, so it's on the left. So now we have to go adjust it here. So that vertical line now is a horizontal line. And then we can also put it on the right. So here we go over to the right. So there it is on the right. We're going to right click, and we're going to put it back to the bottom. So if you want to get more settings for your dock, then we're going to right click on the vertical line and go to dock settings, and that opens up all the dock settings here in settings. So if we scroll up here, you can see we have some of the same ones. We have adjustments for magnification and size. We have the ones that we just looked at. But wait, there's more. So you can really customize your dock. So we can use our Command W to close that window. And if we go back down to the dock, here's one other thing we can do on the dock. If we want to move things, so example, we say we want to move the Apple TV app here. We hold down the Command key and we dip it down just a little bit, and then we can move it to another location. Let's try that again. That is not working. One more time. There we go. So you don't have to hold on the Command key. You just kind of dip it down a little bit and then move it right or left. So we worked at the bottom. Let's work at the top on the menu bars. So this is where you hold down the Command key and drag the item. So we'll stop this little guy here from So we go up here to the menu bar at the very top. We'll hold down the Command key, take the Bluetooth icon here, and move it. Or we can take the setup icon here, hold down the Command key, and move it next to the Bluetooth key just to be confused. So you can rearrange, customize your menu bar. So that brings us to questions. And we had a problem with the GoFor Gazette on Monday. Many of you did not receive it. And the issue is a privacy setting in the Mac operating system. So I'm working with the developer of the program I use to send the GoFor Gazette, which is called Direct Mail, to see if there is a workaround so we can get that GoFor Gazette out to everybody. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully we will get that resolved. Zoom Workplace is updated to version 6.1.10. There were also some updates to macOS and iOS, but the version didn't change. So last I heard, we didn't know exactly what they had fixed, but apparently they fixed something, but it was minor, so they didn't tell us what they fixed. At least they haven't so far. So let's see here what Susan has to say. So, working in the Finder is the subject I most wanted information about. Interesting that you don't like column view. I use it the most. I'm a librarian, so I like everything to be hierarchically organized. Great. And Susan did get the GoFor Gazette twice. Yep. So when I was trying to put it on scheduled mode so it would send without my intervention, and it didn't seem to be working, I ended up sending it twice. But some people got it twice, some people didn't get it at all. Unfortunately, a majority of people didn't get it at all. So we are working on that. So if you don't have any other questions, but you think of them later, feel free to call me or email me, and that information will be coming up shortly. So have a great rest of your day. Come back here. Oh, one other thing you can do to be notified is to subscribe and click on the little bell. And then when I go live at 11:55, you will get an email and it'll have the link. So you can just click on the link and come in. So if you don't get a GoFor Gazette, check your email at 11:55 on Tuesday morning and you'll get the link that way if you are subscribed and hit the little bell. And Leslie Ann says, thanks, I can use these. Well, that's the whole idea, Leslie Ann and everybody, is to find things that make your experience better on your Mac. And so you have subscribed and you never hear anything. Well, that's interesting. It worked for me, and it has worked for me every Tuesday. I get a notification. And thank you, Susan, for reminding me that tonight the Tucson Macintosh Users Group is meeting. And if you want a link to that and you didn't get the newsletter, which has the link in the GoFor Gazette, then email me and I will send you the link for the Tucson Macintosh User Group meeting, which is always the third Tuesday of the month at 6 o'clock for Ask Me Anything and 7 o'clock for our general fun and fact-packed meeting. So hopefully we'll see you there tonight. So until the next time, take care and thanks for watching.